and I felt defeated. And I remember looking up at the sky and I prayed to God in that moment that I said, God, why did you give me such an opportunity and rip it away? God said to me, it's because you doubted. I'm giving you what you asked for and you doubted. I think that the devil plays this role of limitation and doubt. And when you doubt, the devil just takes your time. And I'll look at his son and I'll realize that his father is able to spend more time with his son, because when a lead comes in and doesn't buy, his father says, don't worry, I know Progretta got it. I'm gonna focus on my son. And I look at that moment and I'm like, hey, I'm the one that created that. So you as a small business owner, I want you to think about all the customers that you're serving, all the people, all the leads that you're creating, all the connections that you're making. That impact is depth. Like there's depth there. And don't take it for granted. It's not just a small business. You're making a huge impact in this world.
And speaker who embodies relentless self-improvement. Beginning as the youngest T-Mobile franchise dealer at 18, he expanded to 4 stores and later founded Progretta.com, a platform that streamlines sales and marketing for entrepreneurs. Through Audate Media, he has served over 5,500 small businesses worldwide with proven marketing strategies. Mentored by legends like Les Brown and connected with figures like Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins, Andy emphasizes eliminating doubt and adopting the mindset of, I can do anything. He believes in dreaming big, declaring intentions, and delivering results, a formula that has driven his own success. Today, we delve into how he's leveraging technology to empower small businesses in Las Vegas, the whole United States, and internationally. His mission is to help others realize their full potential. This is a Vegas Voices podcast, and this is a true Vegas entrepreneur. Andy Audate.
Welcome to the first ever Vegas Voices podcast.
We're here, babe.
Yeah. You know what we're doing here? We're giving a platform for local Vegas movers, shakers, those builders that are doing stuff for our city.
So glad to be here with you, Sergio.
Andy Audate, thank you. Thank you for being here, man.
I appreciate you, brother, for having me, being on one of the first episodes of the Vegas Voices podcast. That means a lot.
Dude, this is awesome. So the whole point of this is to bring voice to those that are building the city, right? And I consider you to be one of those persons. You inspire me, man.
I appreciate you.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
You're 29. I thought you were still 28.
Yeah.
Right? So
I've been a few months.
I'm 20 years older than you, so just so you know. Well, 18.
18.
18. Yeah. And the reason you inspire me is that I've known you for 4 or 5 years now, and I've seen you build 2 companies already.
Yeah, the marketing agency and then the software company.
Right. So, I mean, by the time I was 28 years old, I was still figuring things out. What started this journey for you?
I still feel like I'm still figuring things out, and like in my personal life, identifying what the evolution is. But I think what inspires me is like seeing people grow and learning from their mistakes, so that way I can identify what not to do or what to do in my journey. That gives me, like, I guess, a little bit of a competitive advantage when it comes to time.
Okay, so you're saying mentors,
like getting mentors. I think people who do very well are mentors, as well as people who do terrible are mentors as well, because you can learn a lot from their mistakes. Like, I'll learn from someone who their business didn't work well, and I identify what went wrong or what could have been done differently. So that way, when I get to that position, I understand, like, hey, this could have been done differently.
Now, that's one I've heard different from any other answers, right? All the zeitgeist is mentors, but nobody talks about those, I guess, anti-mentors.
Yeah.
That's
a good perspective, anti-mentors.
So, I mean, where do you see, tell me a good example of somewhere that you've seen this happen and how you applied it to your life.
I mean, I've seen people, for example, that run their business into the ground because they have the wrong business model. I've seen people who didn't adapt when things changed in the world of marketing, the world of sales, when things didn't change. So, for example, I had, in your case, a mentor, someone who guided me, and I'm not going to get too specific, but someone who guided me in like selling tickets, selling online courses, things of that nature. and their business went right into the ground, down to almost zero. Or it could have been at zero. And I realized that the reason why their business didn't evolve is because they, as a leader, chose not to evolve with the times. Today, we have things like artificial intelligence running businesses, online courses that are digital, doesn't have to be in person, things that are pre-recorded, things that are automated. And their processes, their strategies were all dated, things that that were done in the 80s or the 90s. And it's worked very well back then. So they said, hey, if it works one time, don't fix it. I mean, if it's working, you don't have to fix it. But the thing is, we're constantly evolving. So they had the same strategies from the 80s and the 90s that they were still implementing. And then in the early 2000s, it starts to dwindle. And today their business is zero. When they had a large customer base, they had a big business at once. And if they had evolved, they would have still grown that business. But they chose not to because they were stuck in their ways. So when I see that, I say, for example, AI is so brand new. I'm like, hey, I got to figure this thing out and really maximize it, as well as Bitcoin is new and crypto is new. All of this is so new to me still that I got to figure this out because I want to evolve with the times.
Okay, so then that's where it comes to you having this word, because I've heard it so many times, progression.
Yeah.
Right. So what is the origin of that? You say, would you say that's a guiding theme or a guiding value in your life, progression? Because I hear you. It's in your books. It's in your way of talking. It's in your company.
Our software company is Progretta.
Right.
And Progretta stands for Progress Daily. And put those two words together. So it's its own word, which is great for keyword lead gen when I'm trying to get leads. However, the name actually started in my cell phone business. My mentors, one of my mentors' business, his name was Evolution Wireless. That was his business. And so when I transitioned, I left his company and I started my own cell phone company. I had to figure out a name. And inspired by him, I called mine Progression. So his was to evolve, mine was to progress, right? So that started the journey. And then as I was talking to my team, so for those of you who don't know, I am the youngest T-Mobile franchise dealer. At 18 and 19 years old, I opened my first location. I have 4 locations with them underneath their brand. And I exited that business and started a marketing agency. When I was running the cell phone business, everything was all about progression because I was the name of our company. So in my talks, as I communicated to people, I said, guys, it's in our DNA, in our company, progress. And then it just stuck with me. So I left that cell phone industry, started a marketing agency, started helping people host events and so on and so forth, and host seminars. One of my seminars was Progression Conference because I said, what is the name going to be? I want to help people do what? I want to help people progress. So this is the event to get progression. Progress daily.
Right. And then, when you were in the seminar industry, you were like taught by the best. I just saw, it was Les Brown, right? If I'm not mistaken. I just saw him have a worldwide stage somewhere. He's still like around.
Yeah, for sure.
What were the biggest things you learned in the seminar business and from such high figures as Les Brown?
Number 1 was the killer of all dreams is doubt. The killer of all dreams is doubt. There was actually a scenario with me and Les Brown that I will never forget. This scenario, man. When I started my relationship with him, I was a sales representative in his company. And Les Brown, he's a motivational speaker, top motivational speaker. And I was a field sales representative. I was selling tickets to his events. And then I transitioned from selling tickets to his events and I said, hey, I want to start hosting my own, right? Under my own name. So I scheduled my first seminar September 29th, 2017. That was my first seminar ever under my own name. Essentially the first progression conference. And I've done almost a dozen since. Now, when I did that event, I got a phone call one day as I was promoting on social media. He saw it, he caught wind of it. I got a phone call and he said, Andy, why didn't you ask me to come and speak? And I said, well, he called me and I said, I didn't even think that was a possible thing. Like I felt like I was just a sales rep in your company, right? And it wasn't like I feel like I didn't have that power to even ask or clout. And it's like going to the CEO and be like, hey man, come speak on my stage. Like that was a big deal. But he said, yeah, that's when our relationship changed in a positive way moving forward, because I felt like there was a business relationship rather than just I work for you. Now, but however, on that call, we came up with a grand strategy on how he's going to help in speaking at my event. We're going to market to his Facebook group. We're going to, email his his email database, so on and so forth. And this was at a time that I'm really getting started under my own brand in 2017. So he's like, we come up with a grand plan. We spoke on the phone for Bob in 90 minutes. In the middle of talking on that plan, what are we going to do? We're going to do a Facebook Live together. We're going to do an email blast. He's going to come out in person. We're going to do some video sales letters. He respects the fact that I'm taking this leap, and he wants to support me because I supported him in putting audiences in front of him. So I'm excited. At the tail end of the conversation, about 90 minutes in, I said to him, let me ask you a question. The event is really like 6 weeks away, 8 weeks away or something. Do you really think we can get a couple hundred people at this event? And instantly, he said, never mind, I'm not doing the event.
No way.
He said, I'm out.
Were you thinking too small?
Yeah. He said, I'm out. And he hung up the phone on me.
Oh, my goodness.
And I called back. The phone must have declined. Your battery dead. Is everything? No, that doesn't want to talk to me. Doesn't want to talk to me. What? Ironically, that day he was in Los Angeles, California. He travels all across the world. But in that day, I knew he was in LA. And I knew where he was staying at. So I went to the house that he was staying at. And because I had already been there and I already know the family and so on and so forth. So I drove to the house. It takes 45 minutes to get there. I probably got there in like 30 minutes. Like I sped. And I got to the door. His granddaughter says, Les is not here. He's filming a commercial in Orange County. So I keep on calling Les. I'm calling Les. I'm calling him. And then when I get in touch with him, he tells me, look, you keep calling me. I'm not doing the deal with you. I'm done. Don't call me back. And I felt defeated. And I remember looking up at the sky and I prayed to God in that moment that I said, God, why did you give me such an opportunity and rip it away? And then he said, and I remember being at the beach and God said to me, it's because you doubted. I'm giving you what you asked for and you doubted.
Wow. That you hadn't tell me, right? But then, eventually that turned around. You started making seminars and it was...
No, essentially what ended up happening is I removed doubt out of my vocabulary from like an action standpoint.
Okay.
And I started going out and promoting myself heavily, like much more heavier, because I realized like I had such an opportunity and I missed it. So I went out and I did sales and I started cold calling. And I started setting up appointments under my own brand. And he caught wind of that because we're close on social media. He caught wind of that. Then I ended up getting a phone call from his manager, and his manager was like, hey, Les said he wants to do the deal. He's back on. And he wants to speak at your event.
But this was much later on.
Later on to the cycle. So it was I maybe had a week and a half, 2 weeks to prepare with. So I did the majority of the work and I sold out the room.
Right.
And so having Les around there was really like, did it help? I'm sure it did. And I realized much more importantly, a stronger lesson. He taught me through his actions. It's not to doubt.
That is amazing. So one of the things that you said is taking doubt of your vocabulary in action. How I think it would be very valuable to our audience to know how that happens. How do you take doubt out of the way you speak?
I can do anything. I can do anything. Anything I can do anything. Anything I can do.
You can do anything you want, be, do, or have.
Anything. I can do anything. Anything I commit to, I could do. Anything I'm 100% all in on, I can do. I can create that. And anything that's in my way is demolished, is destroyed, it's obliterated. Anything that's in my way, any person, thing, idea is just removed. Because once the doubt is removed, I start to see results. So in that scenario, hosting events, think about it. At that time, I was a 22-year-old. I'm filling up seminars for well-known names. And so I have confidence to walk in and fill up a seminar for a well-known name to promote someone else's name. Now I transition to do it for me. There's this, am I worthy? This imposter syndrome that took place. So I'm 22 telling people to come learn how to sell, how to do sales from Andy at 22 years old or 21. And by having this level of confidence in myself, it's attracted to the right people. And the right people get attracted. That's why I start filling up these rooms. So I can do anything. Right now, I'm building a $100 million business.
That's amazing. So what would you tell to somebody that's right now having doubt, even about themselves or where they want to go in life? to get that attitude? Where did you get it? It's gotta you must have learned it or unlearned it from somewhere.
I think it starts off with small wins. Like, hey, I could do that. Right? Dream, declare, and deliver. Three Ds. Dream, declare, and deliver. Dream a vision. Declare on you creating that vision and then deliver that vision. Once you start declaring and dreaming and declaring, you start building this confidence like, hey, I've done this before. Hard shit, like hard stuff. And things that are hard become easier. So like this morning, for example, you and I do the same thing. We cold plunge in the morning. I dislike, every morning I wake up, I dislike cold plunge.
I hate it too.
You hate it?
But yeah, every morning. There's only one thing that I hate, but I do.
Cold plunge?
The cold plunge.
Cold plunge, yeah. This morning, mine was in the lower 30s this morning.
Nice.
It's cold in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is hot in the summer, but in the winters, it gets really cold. And so my cold is in the lower 30s, and I'm telling you, my bed was warm. At 4 o'clock in the morning, my bed was warm. My wife put the
timer thing?
No, the air condition, the heater on last night. So it's like snug this heat. It's warm, and then my alarm rings, and like that's. And then I gotta wake up, and then I gotta go outside and go into the cold water, and I gotta sit there, and I'm doing what you're doing. Like I'm stretching myself. My coach says do 3 minutes. I'm doing what you're doing. I do the 5s.
Nice.
Right? I do the 5 minutes. Because I noticed like at the 3 minutes, it starts to suck a little bit. At the 5 minutes is when I realized like, okay, I broke through. And I do that every day. However, what I noticed is that by continually doing the hard thing, it just makes it easier. Like I've done this before. I've been here before. So tomorrow when I wake up, I'm not going to want to do the cold plunge. But when I wake up, I'm going to be like, I did it yesterday. I did it the day before. Why not do it today?
So then that applies to anything in life, business and everything, right?
Yeah. Do the hard thing. Do the thing that you don't want to do. I'll share with you, like, for example, like cold calling. When I was around like in my early 20s, when I would call people to sell my own tickets, and I would say, hi, I'm calling from Andy Audate's office, right? I'm Andy Audate, but I would be like, I'm calling from Andy Audate's office. The reason for my call is because, and I would talk about a peak performance training, so on and so forth. And every time I would want to pick up the phone, it felt like the cold plunge. I was scared. I was nervous. But when I did it, it built confidence. So if you're going through doubt right now, the thing that you should do, just focus on taking the action. Just do it. If you think about the worst case scenario and you're okay with the worst case scenario, it makes it much easier to make the decisions again and again and again.
Being okay with the worst case scenario, that's something that I do often too. Right. So whenever I'm going to take an action, I say, what is the worst thing that can happen? And then I live through it in my mind. And then, even if I can't go through it, I live through it. And then, okay, did I survive?
Yeah.
Or even if you died, if you believe you're a spiritual being, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do you're going to end up somewhere.
Yeah.
But I always take that approach too. So that is amazing.
My mom taught me about like being okay with your death. And like, she's like, I can see like in her eyes, like she's like, if I die, I'm fine. And it made death feel like so, like it's an activity at one time, but it's not the end all be all because, like you said, like there's much more after death. In identifying that for me in my life, man, so what if I do a deal and it doesn't work out? So what if I cold call and they cuss me out? So what if I walk into a business, knock on their door, and they kick me out and tell me to go kick rocks? So what if I hit the cold plunge? Did you die? If not, hey, man, keep going.
Yeah, man. Like I've seen you. You are the person that I've seen pivot the most, even in a month.
Really?
I mean, you throw like 5 offers and maybe the 5 didn't work. You don't care. You just keep going. You throw another 5 next month. But then there's one that's going to be gold. Something out of all the different things and initiatives you put your team through, one of those will hit, even if it's 1 in 10, 1 in 100. It doesn't matter because it's going to make up for all the rest.
That's what's happened in my business. Like the 5 offers, like we just launched one on the day before yesterday. So yeah, 3 days ago, we launched a new offer, and then I just got on a call with my team, and they're like, yeah, people are biting, and we did something interesting. Like we did. You could pay $1,000 a month, or you could pay $12,000 upfront for the next year. And if you pay $12,000 upfront, we're gonna give you a bigger bonus. And we did something like really like the bonus is not included in the monthly subscription, which is making the $12,000 more exciting. Wow. So we're starting to see people much more intrigued. Now, we don't even have a landing page up. We don't have the email sequence. We don't have the automations built. The team is currently building that out. But I told my sales team yesterday, I said, sell it. Sell it. Let's sell it right now. Right now.
Yeah.
Video sales letters completed. Just sell it. We have no way to fulfill on it.
Because it's in the voice. Like you said, I can do anything.
I can do anything, yeah.
I mean, it's just so matter-of-facty. I wish that it would be so matter-of-fact for all humans, man. That'd be the ideal. That'd be such a beautiful world.
I think that the devil plays this role of limitation and doubt. And when you doubt, the devil just takes your time. The devil just sucks up a little bit of time. So it's like, can you do the way in my life, the way that the devil speaks is in questions. So it's like I can do anything, and then the devil will be like,
can you? Can you? Where?
Can you? And then that's interesting. When you try to answer that question, I would seek the answer. If I try to answer the devil's question of can you do anything, I would try to seek the answer, and I would find the flaw, and that's where imposter syndrome comes from. Because you're like, hey, I'm going to help you with your business. I'm going to help you drive traffic. I'm going to help you with your funnels. I'm going to help you with your sales process. And then you're so confident, and then you go home and it's quiet, and then it's like, can you drive traffic? Can you build the funnels? Can you really help that business? And that's where doubt starts to creep in. And then that's when it's like, you know what? Maybe I can't. You start fumbling on the sales presentation. You start fumbling on the fulfillment. You start fumbling on the offer, on the fulfillment of the offer. Your team senses it. Your customer senses it. Next thing you know, you're all fucked. It starts with doubt. Wow.
Amazing. I've never heard this side of you. Like, I love this podcast because it's bringing out this is something that I've known you for years. And
well, I mean, I think it's deeper because like I'm doing this with my best friend rather than like I do a lot of podcasts with people who I've never met before, right? So there's one element. I'm like, my name is Andy, but then there's like one I'm doing with my best friend. So
we've been friends. We've collaborated in our lives and everything. Okay, so now this being the Vegas Voices podcast, let's bring it back to the city. Let's bring it back and relate it to, Vegas. What is your story related to this community and where we're standing right now? We're on a WeWork, as you can see, the mission is to go to people. The plan is to go and talk to the people in Vegas that are building it. So how do you see yourself right now building this city or being, a catalyst to Vegas?
So we run a white label software called Progretta, and Progretta is a white label software of high level. And what I started to realize is that there's actually a lot of small businesses in the local community that uses high level, but they don't have processes to implement the technology. We're rated in the top 100 of those high level agencies. And with that being said, I think that the way that we're supporting the local community is helping small businesses implement that technology to generate leads, organize their customer database, get more customers, and most importantly, get paid. So like we building systems, technology, processes to help local small businesses really just grow and scale their business. Rather than like focusing on the tech, we're the tech partner. The business owner just has to focus on the growth of the business.
Right. So that's awesome. So, there's already several stories, right, of businesses that your software has helped here.
Yes.
So, what would you say? Let's make it a more measurable impact. Tell us more about those people that are, what's the impact on our community? What is
our metric is 50,000 businesses that we're enabling in their sales and marketing. However, the metric for the small businesses has been different. One business, for example, $800,000 in additional revenue is their freedom number. And for another small business, $150,000 is their freedom number. And for another small business, $1.5 million is their freedom number.
Right.
However, what we do is we enable them to hit a level of freedom where they're not focusing and they're not bogged down by the business. They own the business rather than the business owns them. So when we experience freedom, this sense of relief and freedom, that's what we celebrate internally in our company. where the customer, our customer who utilizes our technology, they mention to our success managers or they mention to our team, hey, this is streamlining my business to allow me to travel, or this is streamlining my business to allow me to spend time with my kids. That's the metric that we take screenshots of, and internally we give the thumbs up and we celebrate. Not when someone just makes a bunch of more money, that's good, but it's when they can experience a certain level of freedom that wasn't present before.
Because when a person is free, they have a bigger mind to think and give a bigger impact to the world.
Well, for us, it's a spiritual journey, because I think that the way that the devil plays in the act of all business owners is keeping them busy with busy work. So that way they're not on purpose and not in full potential. They're busy. They're busy sending DMs. They're busy sending text messages. They're busy sending emails. They're busy sending all this like little minutia work when they could be making an impact. I see so many small business owners that may have like 15, 20 customers, and they're limited and they're tapped at 15 customers. In our company, we have just under 1,000 customers. And you don't see me, I'm not fumbling with emails or text messages. It's all automated. And that has created a level of freedom for me as a small business owner, that if we can take that level of experience, duplicate in a small business, those business owners will be able to make a much bigger impact. So when I think about the person who has 15 customers and they're doing all the email, all the text messages, nothing's automated, they're limiting their own potential and their own greatness. So our software is the bridge between the small business owner and their customer to build our relationship at scale.
Because the small business owner is who builds the community, right? This is what builds us.
Yeah.
So give us one of the latest examples of one of these. I know several, but for the audience,
who's on top of mind for you?
I like the mattress plug guy.
Yeah.
Nicolina, the Beauty Academy.
So we can talk.
Brian Garcia. There's several.
What we found, like, there's hundreds that are on top of my mind, but there's one, like you just said, the mattress plug. In his case, when we met, he was operating his business off of like notepads, and I remember when we met here, he came here with his then girlfriend or his current girlfriend, and
let's bring it back a little, right? Like mattress plug. First of all, immigrant,
yes.
Second of all, built his business from nothing, and then what does he do? He builds mattresses, right?
He manufactures them in Las Vegas.
In an industry where there's like Purple Mattress and all these other guys that are like huge, and this guy's coming in and competing against
with these type of
from nothingness, with whales.
He's an immigrant. He's young. He's under 35 years old. He's a young guy. Today he has a child. So he has his firstborn, his son. And when I met him, he was, they were just before they got pregnant, right? And I remember their operations was everything paper.
In 2023.
Yeah, 2022. So everything was paper. Everything's paper. And then I said, hey, okay, and you're doing everything. So we set him up, VA, we're virtual assistant. Number two, we automated a lot of the processes that his team was doing manually or he was doing manually. So one of those processes is someone says they're interested and they go to the website, they would capture the name, email, and phone number. That's called an abandoned checkout. When someone is ready to pay and then they leave. His old process he would have a list of names and emails and phone numbers that he would have to call manually. But guess what? When would he call? 4, maybe 6 weeks after they opted in. So that means that person goes to the webpage, his website, puts in their name, email, phone number, about to buy a mattress. They don't put in their credit card, and then they leave the site.
Right. And they go to Purple.
Go to all these other places, right? And then they leave the site. And 6 weeks later, he then might call them. What we did is we put an automation that within 1 hour, if they don't buy in an hour, they automatically get the text messages with this. The emails and text messages are automatically sent to that customer. That essentially says, hey, you were about to purchase. Instead of waiting, if you decide to purchase in the next 24 hours, we're going to give you 2 free pillows on us. That instantly sky boosted his revenue. So because he started seeing money coming because of that one action, he started really deep diving into more of our processes. So he has virtual assistants run the software. So he purchases a subscription, right? But he has virtual assistants, which is essentially a duplicate of our operations. Everything before was all domestic, people in his office. Now he has VAs who run the software for him, and then he got the software. So now he's calling people within an hour, as well as there's automatic text messages and emails going out that's saying, hey, come back and buy. So that sky boosted his revenue. So now he's been exploring more into the software of what can be done. And he has a bunch of automations when someone cancels, when someone refunds. He has a bunch of automations that essentially runs his business today.
So can you see, I mean, I'm seeing, like Bill Gates said, you got to have depth of vision.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the depth of vision on this, how one small thing trickled into, it's you put in a little seed that turns into a forest, and not only a forest, it turns into furniture in the future or mattresses, right? Yeah.
Let me share into the perspective here. In the example of the mattress plug, when I see his son, right? So I'll go to, for example, their Christmas gatherings or their team meetings and just pop up right out of nowhere, and their son will be there. And I'll look at his son and I'll realize that his father is able to spend more time with his son, because when a lead comes in and doesn't buy, his father says, "Don't worry, I know Progretta got it. I'm gonna focus on my son." And I look at that moment and I'm like, "Hey, I'm the one that created that." When the father is sitting down with his 6-month son, and the dad is like, "No, Progretta got the new lead. Don't worry about it. I'm not tripping on it. It's gonna go through an automation. They'll buy within the next hour. If not, we have our VAs who's gonna call." And I see that today, 2.5 years later, 18 months later, I'm like, yay, that's my results.
That's your contribution, right? To the city, to the world, and it goes just so many levels, right? We don't even think, because we're in this industry of internet marketing and stuff, but how a little leverage that we have because of the power of the internet and the power of softwares and now AI, how it can create such a big effect. And we don't even see it because we're probably in our everyday. But you know what? I thank you for your contribution, Andy. And I mean, you're doing this times what? Close to 1,000.
Yeah.
Right? How does it feel? Does that make you feel proud, driven, like you can do anything again?
I feel like I can do anything. I'll tell you, like, even having a business with serving so many small businesses, and where the power of the small businesses, it's interesting to me when for example, I talk to a local small business owner, maybe not in Nevada. We call them end users in our world, in our digital marketing world. The person who's going to use Progretta, the end person who's going to maximize the software, and I'll talk to them and they'll tell me like, "Hey, I saw this before, or I went through this process." And then I'm like, "Where did you hear this process?" And it's from someone that we were coaching, right? It's like, because we coach other agencies on how to run their software business.
So you teach them how to do what you're doing too.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the end user will tell us like, "Oh, this looks like so-and-so." I'm like, "Show me so-and-so." And then I'll see so-and-so. I'm like, "So-and-so is a customer of ours. They're a client of ours." So I realized that our effort, that's one that I actually catch and learn about. There's thousands upon thousands of different interactions that are done through our intelligence, our coaching, our products, our services, our IP that is making an impact in the world. 2 weeks ago, I was in Dallas, Texas, and I met a member who's been in our consulting program for the last maybe 8 months, and she's showing me pictures of them using our systems and our technologies in Dubai. And I'm like, "This is Dubai?" I'm like, "This is phenomenal." Right after that, a gentleman comes up to me and shows me his phone that barely speaks English, and he shows me his phone and he shows me an app, and it's my app, the Audate training app, and he's from Italy. And he's like, "I barely speak English, but I know you. And then he shows me the app. So I ended up doing like a podcast. It was very challenging because he speaks a different language.
Right.
But I started to realize the impact that I'm having. So you as a small business owner, I want you to think about all the customers that you're serving, all the people, all the leads that you're creating, all the connections that you're making. That impact is depth. Like there's depth there. And don't take it for granted. It's not just a small business. You're making a huge impact in this world.
Thank you, Andy. So for the final question, I want to ask you how you see yourself in the context of Vegas, the future, and where things are going, both for you and for this bright city.
I think Vegas is going to be taking a huge leap in new residents. I know where I live, just in the last 2 months, there's probably been 14, 15 new homes that were built just behind me because I live in a new build, right? And there are areas that are currently not developed today that a year from now is going to be a whole residence and a whole compound. So I think that Vegas is definitely developing, and this is the best time to be a part of the community.
Right. Well, thank you for contributing to it. So how can people find more about you? We'll put it on the video, but yeah, no notes.
So to learn about our software company, go to progreda.com. That's PROGREDA.com. To learn more about me, go to andyaudate.com.
Thank you, Andy.
And Andy Audate on all social media platforms.
And thank you for being a Vegas boy.